Here are 9 sourdough items that I regret purchasing when I started my sourdough journey. Okay, first up, I just want to get this out of the way because I just know I'm gonna hurt myself filming this. I hate this thing. It's got like a curve to it. I don't know if you can see that. I probably have it on there wrong because honestly I don't know what I'm doing. But I have cut myself twice putting this razor blade on. I have the scars to prove it. Stinking thumb is finally healing. That was gnarly for a while. But this is so dangerous and I'm super clumsy. So this is just a no. In fact, I want to get this out of the way because I'm scared of it. Along those lines, this actually is a good product. It works very well. I was surprised by how sharp it is and how well it cut the bread. But if you're a sourdough nerd like me, you always cut your bread in the middle to see what the crumb looks like. So I found that I never actually use this. It's just been sitting in my cabinet unused, which is sad. I regret buying it because I never use it. If you would use it, it's pretty good actually. I love a bowl scraper, especially when you're first putting your dough together. You can scrape off those bits on the side, but this silicone one does not do the job. It's flimsy on the side, so when you scrape the bowl, it just glides over the dried on bits. It's pretty terrible. You need a hard plastic one. King Arthur's is my favorite because all of the edges are tapered, so depending on the type of bowl you have, you can scrape this way, or you can use the back like this, like to scrape stuff off of your surface. This one is great. This one, not so much. Along those lines is this pastry cutter. I know that it's not labeled as a bench scraper, but it was on a really good deal for Amazon Prime Day, and I thought it would function well as a bench scraper, but no. The bottom of it is not sharp enough, so when you're trying to divide your dough, it doesn't go all the way through, which is annoying. You have to kind of work harder than you should have to. And also the way that this handle is awkward to hold. I don't know. I much prefer a bench scraper like this. It's a lot easier to hold. It's better grip. This one is it's just awkward. So this is a no. Get you a proper bench scraper. Next up are these bannetons. I know they're very popular and I still use them. I just wish that I would have saved the money that I spent on these and put it towards wood pulp bannetons. They're so much better. I much prefer working with those. Again, there's nothing wrong with these. I just think they're a little bit more susceptible to mold, and the wood pulp ones just perform better and are easier to work with. So they are cheaper, but if I could go back, I would not have bought these and I would just put that money towards the bulk of bannetons, or Rose Hill sourdough has some good ones too. We also have silicone bannetons. I'm not a fan. They are easy to clean and you don't have to worry about mold and mildew and stuff like that, but my bread, like my dough, gets so wet when I use these. After a cold proof in the fridge, you turn this out and the top of your dough is like slimy. The condensation in these is just not great for sourdough. It makes it difficult to score. You'll get a lot of snagging because there's so much moisture on the surface of your bread, and it impedes the top of your dough from getting that crackly, nice, crusty crust, basically, because it's just too wet. So I understand the theory behind these, but in practice, it's a no-go for me. Next would be off-brand parchment paper. This was a very cheap parchment paper that I purchased from Amazon, and I liked that it was brown because my understanding is this is unbleached, maybe like a little less processed, but it is so thin, it hardly does the job that it's supposed to do. The paper is just like, it's so thin. I thought it would be nice to save some money and get more parchment paper for the coin, but I have to like layer these to actually get it to perform the way it should. They're so thin. Okay, I just went and grabbed my favorite parchment paper is from King Arthur. It is more expensive, which is why I was trying an off-brand one, but the off-brand one just does not compare. It's so much thicker, it's sturdy. Like if you could feel the difference between this and this, there's just no comparison. This is far better in quality, and I will not be purchasing this off-brand stuff anymore. Next we have salt. I have purchased this Kroger brand kosher salt, and I did not realize that the ingredients are salt, obviously, but then yellow prussiate of soda, which is an anti-caking agent. See that? I firmly believe this was screwing up my bread. I went through a really bad bread streak, and I think I switched maybe from Morton's to Kroger without realizing it because the packaging looks really similar. It's probably a better price. but I was having issues. My bread was just not turning out right. I'm like, what is going on? I switched my salt. Now I have Redmond's. I highly recommend that brand. It's just the only ingredient is salt, and I have not had that issue since. So is it a old wives' tale? Is it true folklore? I don't know. But in my experience, if you can find salt that does not have any additives or anti-caking ingredients, you might get better outcomes with your sourdough. So I definitely regret skimping out on the salt. Last but not least are these Weck jars. I love the Weck brand. The problem is these jars are too small. They don't fit 100 grams of starter. They overflow, unfortunately, with that amount. And 100 grams is a pretty typical amount that I need for recipes and things. So this only fits about 75 grams. So I wish I would have gone 1 or 2 sizes larger. So this is like the popular one that you see everywhere. This is the Weck tulip jar. I wanted one that was just one, like, I don't know, maybe half the size or a little bit smaller. And this was just too small. So I still use them for, especially for experiments and showing like time lapses of different feeding ratios and things like that to educate on how you feed your starter. So they're not going to waste. I just can't use them in practice like I was hoping I would. Those are the 9 things that I regret purchasing. I wish I could go back and save my money. Make sure to comment below anything that you have purchased for your sourdough journey that you wish you didn't waste your money on. Let's all come together and help each other. Happy baking.